when the NFL was created, George Halas's Chicago Bears rocketed pro football into the nation's spotlight.
The Bears, the world champions.
Give me 18 inches of daylight. That's all I need.
Nicknamed the Monsters of the Midway,
I like that top body. The refrigerator.
the Bears transformed the National Football League.
The Chicago Bears select Caleb Williams.
Welcome back to another exciting edition of the Pointless Exercise podcast. It's time for the season finale of Hard Knocks. Our recap with the mics, two of the mics. We realize we're up to our ears in mics. With with Mike Pustateri and Mike Praznowski. Guys, how's it going? Sounds like it's going fine.
It's going well. We're a little overwhelmed by all the mics from last night's show, but
That's right.
there's
So if
room
you
for
didn't
two
get a
of us
chance,
here.
if you didn't get a chance to check out the Super Mega Football preview, that was a perfect time. We kept it to just over an hour too. Which is pretty good, I thought.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at us.
You can squeeze that in before tomorrow night's big
For tomorrow night. Yeah. Big game.
season.
Big weekend event.
Yeah, I'm going to Brazil for the Packers and Eagles.
Very nice.
I decided, why not? I'm staying at Bolsonaro's place. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Is he wearing, I don't know, is he wearing pants yet? Remember he couldn't wear pants? He was allergic to his pants, kind of like Marian Hossa.
That's right.
Yeah. At least that's what he was
Right.
telling everybody. He was allergic to his pants as he walked around pantsless.
Yeah.
Now that was a real thing. He got it apparently was part of his long COVID, and he got some kind of weird skin infection, and he couldn't wear pants.
That's
Then he tried-
made up.
Then he tried to steal an election, and there's no Twitter in Brazil.
That's right.
It's banned.
Oh wow,
That's right. No,
No Twitter. God, it does sound like a nice place to live. Actually,
It
Maybe I'll
does
go down
sound
there.
pretty good. Yeah.
If only our
Brazil.
corrupt politicians here could influence Twitter going away, but not so much.
No. Speaking of corrupt politicians, I'm just going to segue with whatever we finish with to the.
That's good. Yeah.
So this the final episode, George McCaskey. Did you notice it was a few minutes late on Max? About 6 minutes late.
I
Last
didn't
night.
because I watched After Hour Spectacular.
That's right. Same here.
Apparently, George McCaskey a little slow with the edits again.
Yeah, of course.
Like, George, we're on deadline. I don't know. The guy said, "Shucks, I gotta consult with Mother about whether we're going to allow such ribald language on this."
Very ribald.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it started with 4 guys staring at a whiteboard with the depth chart on it, which is
Riveting
just like
television.
yeah. I mean, it was straight out of a Spielberg movie. It just caught your attention immediately. The beginning of Indiana Jones, where the Paramount logo turns into a mountain. That was.
Well, let me ask you this: were you surprised at all when Jackson Lamb showed up to the senior Cartwright's house? Oh no, wait, we're not doing slow. Are we doing slow horses? We're doing Hard Knocks. Never mind.
Their new season though is imminent, right? A couple of weeks.
It's the first episode last night. It's out.
Oh, it's out. So it did drop. Yeah. There's a
Yes,
lot of stuff on Apple TV Plus right now that I'm trying to catch up with or keep up with.
Yeah, check it out.
Did you notice there was a? This is a great pocket. We're off to a great start, so let's just keep going. Did you notice I had a Jackson Lamb quote to start the article?
Yes, I did. I was very pleased.
Apparently, that's in this season. The reason I knew it existed was on the Empire, on the Pilot TV podcast. They interviewed Gary Oldman, and they talked about it. They talked about that quote.
Oh, nice.
So I'm like, I know what that quote is. I looked it up, and there it was, and I used it. So there you go.
Yeah.
All right, but back to the Bears. 4 guys staring at a whiteboard. And the way polls, they are all about the drama, even though we all knew who'd gotten cut because it happened a week before. Yeah. Polls made it sound like they were down to 4 guys for the last spot, and one of them was Velus Jones Jr. I don't believe any of that, but that's what they were looking at. And then to emphasize it, as they were going through, Flus is like, all right, so you got 22 on offense, and they're going through all these guys. And at one point, he said, do you 10 defensive backs? And Paul's like, well, no, I got 6 corners and 4 safeties. Yeah, that's 10.
It's 10.
And that's Boston College education. Fluke's like, where are we heavy? And they just pointed at the running backs, which they're not, right? Like they only really, I guess if you count Kari Blasingame and Vallis, then they got 5. So that's probably more. But they have 3 real running backs.
I was going to say, do we really count Blasingame? I mean,
are we still counting Ian Wheeler in this?
Well, no, he doesn't count because he's on injured reserve. So no, we do not have to count him. But I did like Pohl's quote as they kind of faded away was, you want to keep everybody, but we're not in that space anymore. It's time to win. Because it wasn't that hard to make this team the last 2 years. It was very hard this year. It's a testament to the fact they have actually found talent. Then they got the Flus giving the inspirational, hey, everybody, thanks for working hard, but some of you got to go speech. Were there a bunch of guys sitting there. So there's about 80 guys in that room. And 69 of them ended up on the Bears. Well, 67 because they traded for 2 guys. So they really didn't cut and lose all that many guys, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I thought the most important thing we got was we got a little piece of Hallis Hall. I don't even know what you'd call it.
Decor.
Yes. We got to learn what the coated glass rods that hang from the ceiling.
Yes, that was cool.
Very important. Very important. Just like what was the carbon rod from the Simpsons, the inanimate carbon rod?
Oh yeah, the one employee of the month.
No, the Bears got 100 of them.
So it's white rod for winning season.
Yep.
A blue rod for a playoff team.
Yep.
And then red for championship.
Well, orange.
Bears
orange.
So what was for a losing? Do we not commemorate
you saw
the
a lot
losing?
of them. They're the clear ones.
The clear.
Those are the losing seasons, and there's a lot of them. I mean, they are a team with 10. They have 10 world championships. Just not nothing to shake your head at, even if most of the people who saw the first 8 are dead.
Right.
They do
one
exist.
in your guy's lifetime, 0 in mine. So still waiting.
Yeah.
But what a glorious one it was. It will sustain me for the next 40 years of my life, just thinking about Reggie Phillips running an interception back for a touchdown in New Orleans. And
that team was the best.
Yeah. Then we got we got more Kevin Warren.
Boy, was that shoehorned in.
Yes, it was. That was basically. I think that's why it was 6 minutes. Don't you think that's why it was 6 minutes late? They get done, and Bouchard is like, "Uh-oh."
Oh,
I promised Kevin he could be in this one. Like, what are we going to talk to him about? I don't know. He's got a picture of George Hallis next to his desk. Fine, that's what we're talking about.
This felt like they didn't really want to get Virginia in the show at all, but like had to get some image of her in some capacity because they cut to the picture of Kevin Warren and her.
Yeah.
Well, they're dating now.
True.
That's the big scandal. He left his wife for Virginia. He's not the first, and even though she's 109, not the last. Who would win wheelchair basketball, Sister Jean or Virginia? What are we going to think? I mean, Jean is around basketball a lot more than Virginia,
for sure.
But Virginia, I think, is a little more spry. She might cheat, try to get out of the chair.
I never bet against Sister Jean. That's one of my rules.
No, can't bet against Sister Jean.
And she seems taller too.
Yeah, I think so.
And
Virginia'd have a tough time getting shots off, I think.
We have seen Sister Jean somewhat recently do some athletic things throwing out the first pitch at Wrigley. So
would you call that dropping a ball and hoping it rolled towards home plate? Is that athletic?
We haven't seen Virginia do it, but
I mean, it was a lot like watching Danny Jackson pitch for the Cubs. But still. But Kevin wanted to give you a little history about the most important man in the forming of the National Football League, the great George Papa Bear Hallis. He said he was the first person to have full-time assistant coaches. Great. First guy to have people in the press box. That was mostly because after a while he realized he didn't want to stand next to Hunk Anderson all the time, so he made him go stand up in the box. And then this is such a Bear thing. He also invented revenue sharing that still makes the NFL special from a financial standpoint.
Yeah.
You don't even have to make a lot of money. You get other teams have to give you money.
Right.
The Cowboys make a shitload of money. They got to share it with those. This is great.
Yeah.
He goes, he was truly an innovator. Every decision I make in this office is looking at the impact it will have on the past, the present, and the future. What decisions are you making that have a huge impact in the past? Do you have
Right.
Is there a time machine? Is he worried about stepping on?
Yeah.
Well, I went back to 1974 and I stepped on a butterfly.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure that we're not going to. We ended up not drafting Walter Payton 3 years later now. So it's or a year.
Yeah. I think Abe Gibran is still coach now. Yeah.
I wanted to scream out like Joe Pesci and my cousin Vinny. Everything that guy just said is bullshit. Thank you.
I mean, to be honest though, there was a refreshing lack of Kevin Warren in the final
that was
episodes.
great.
For
The
sure.
lack
We
of
only
Kevin
got him-
Warren
there
was
was-
outstanding.
There were only, from what I remember, right? There's only 4 scenes, right? We had the one where Poles had to explain DJ Moore's contract to him.
Right.
The one we knew was coming, where he got to talk about how fabulous his new stadium that's never going to be built would be,
Yeah.
Right.
and really about what was the word then? How fixed
should we have
seating,
tables or fixed seating? Yep.
fixed seating in a luxury box has more panache. Then last week somebody was reading something to him again, I think, and then this week he got to babble on about Papa Bear, and that was it.
That was it. It was refreshing.
Yeah, it was. And at least we didn't get any George, at least not during the regular, maybe in the outtakes we'll get some George, but we didn't get any George. It did not appear.
No. Thought we'd see him in the umpire uniform at least once. But
Yep. So after the perfunctory Kevin Warren soundbite, we got to see in the room. This is good stuff from Hard Knocks. Although I'm sure there was a lot of really good stuff that we didn't get to see. Coach is sitting around talking about the final cuts. This is what the whole show's about. Is did you make the game?
That's always been the most compelling part of any Hard Knocks.
Defensive coordinator Eric Washington was raving about and it was a great play. The play that Adrian Colbert made against the Chiefs, where he ran
right,
the
across
deflection,
2/3 of the field and knocked the ball
Right.
away. That was great. Kerry Joseph on Brett Rippon's veteran leadership. So it was very good, and he's been good for Caleb. When he was asked to project Austin Reed's ceiling, he basically gave he's a year away from being a year away.
Yeah.
right.
I'd say he's about 10 feet high. No, not the room ceiling. Austin
He goes,
Reed's.
Yeah. That's right there, for Christ's sakes. What? Look up. No, that's not what we mean. He goes, and he needs a couple of years on the fundamentals. A couple of years on the fundamentals? Very smart, knows everything. And he didn't mean that in a smart-ass way. Although he is a smart-ass. He's an entertaining smart-ass. And Flus said he's got a good disposition for the position.
Yes, there you go.
He was
The disposition
just
for the
dropping
position.
pearls.
The
And then
mouthful.
Kerry Joseph said something that was very interesting. He said, it doesn't worry me to have 2 rookies and a second-year guy because of his maturity.
Yeah.
And maturity it seemed clear to me that the maturity was Caleb's. In other words, we don't need the old guy.
It was a bit of a concerning statement. But yeah. But we'll see how it works out.
Well, I mean, we'll get to it when we get to the Brett Rippon scene, which was a good one.
Yeah.
Then he kicked the assistants out, and it's just the coordinators, so they can get down to the real decisions.
Right.
And so Richard Hightower had to break down how they said, how are you going to use Valus? Because that's the most important thing, right? He basically said he was going to be the kick returner. He'd be on the punt return team, either in the interior or on the outside. He could be anywhere on the kickoff. And he's the first gunner if a cornerback gets hurt and it's one of those guys has to go move up to the defense. So basically he's going to play on every one of your special teams.
He's going to be the roving player in all phases of the game.
Yeah.
But I didn't look. Travis Homer didn't make the team, right? Because that was like the big deal. That was their special teams running back was Travis Homer, and that would be who Valus would have made it instead of, because that really would have been his competition. Anyway, I'm just going to assume he didn't because it wasn't on the list of the guys. And then the Flus. I like this. He started off with a really strong comment on Valus, and as it went on, it got a little weaker. He's had a great camp. He changed positions. He runs hard. He'll dent the pile forward, and he can take it to the house. He's a potential game changer. in certain spots.
In certain spots.
Which is if the other team needs the ball back, we can give it to Velas and he'll change the game.
He'll change that game for him. Yeah.
Real vote of confidence. Yeah.
But Chad Morton, in that room before where they kicked the assistants out, was really pushing for Velas. And Waldron said he was impressed by how quickly he picked up being a running back. And they said that's a tough skill set to bypass. And that's, I think, what they envision is, because he's similar size, he's not quite as big, but he's a big dude, is why did I just forget the guy's name? Because I looked up and saw Pete Crow Armstrong hit a home run.
Whoops. Yeah. Ian Wheeler? Or
no, the guy who played for the Vikings and the Bears and the Falcons, the kick returner with the big dreadlocks.
Oh,
and
Cordero
big
Patterson.
Cordero.
Yep.
Cordero. Yeah.
Or Corderell, yes.
I mean, that's the kind of ways you can use Velas. Now, whether or not I took Cordero like 4 teams before he actually got good. It may take Velas doesn't have that. He's got a few years on him. He doesn't have that many teams to change.
Right.
So, then we got to see a bear packing. It's like, who's this? Who got sent home? And it's just Ian Wheeler because he's got to go. He's got to fly back to Houston to have his ACL fixed.
Right.
I was a little. I don't know. I was a little worried about our friend Ian because it seemed like he was, I don't know, maybe having second thoughts a little bit.
Well, it's funny. I thought the same thing. In fact, my original notes were, sounds like he might just go to Houston, get his knee fixed, and go to medical school.
Yeah.
But when you listen to it, the first thing he talks about is how he's looking forward to coming back, rehabbing, being with the team, and playing.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then I think he threw that thing in about maybe I'll use this when I reapply to medical school in my essay as longer term, but I got the feeling too.
I get that feeling, and also when he said, "I'm really glad my mom got to see me play in an NFL game."
Yeah,
you didn't add, can't wait till she could see it again. Yeah. It was just kind of there was a little bit of I don't know.
He's a smart dude. I mean, realistically, that was his chance. Right? There's going to be 40 more
next year,
drafted and undrafted running backs flooding camp next year, and you're the one on the fixed ACL. I mean, I read the book Friday Night Lights and I saw the movie. I know what it did to Booby Miles. We're not going to let that happen to Ian Wheeler.
Save that medical school brain for good, Ian.
I did like the phone call. There were 2 things that stood out to me. One was his mom was talking about all the things his aunt was cooking for him. And if he just shook his head and went, "Oh, it's too hot for gumbo."
Yeah, too hot for gumbo.
But then I also like that when his mom started imitating his aunt's voice during the phone call.
Yes.
And she goes, as her sister, I assume it could be her sister, it could be her sister-in-law. She's like, "I'll be making anything he wants." I'm just cracking up because she changed her voice to say it. I thought that was very funny. Did you check out Ian's books?
Yes, Tuesdays with Maury.
Yeah, big into fiction, apparently.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we found out later that, yes, while Mitch did meet with Maury on a few Tuesdays, he made a lot of that stuff up. Well, that's fine. I know. Yeah. But he also had the book Mind Gym, which is an athlete's guide to inner excellence. And you know it's quality because the foreword to that book was written by Alex Rodriguez.
Oh, that's good.
Of course.
Yes. And then What is the What by Dave Eggers, which is about the Lost Boys of Sudan, who trekked hundreds of miles by foot. They were chased by militias, government bombers, and wild animals, crossing deserts of 3 countries to find freedom. Yeah. Just a little light reading.
Yeah.
We got our last Flus and Caleb meeting.
Yep.
And according to Kevin Fishbane, these are not, whether the content is staged or not is to be determined. But Flus had these same meetings with Fields.
Okay.
So he met with him pretty much every day, one-on-one. So they're not actually, there's a real thing. Whether or not the stuff we see is real or not, who knows? But the Flus was basically, it's funny. He was counting, he's going through them, but how many reps he's going to get. And he's like, you're going to get 100. And basically, what the funny thing was,
Wednesday, 42 tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Repetition until it's rote. Yep.
But the part I enjoyed was how excited he's like, he just looked at him, he goes, "It's all football." Like, all you have to do, you don't have to worry about anything anymore but football. It's all football. Isn't that great? We get to do football. And it's like, what do you think he was doing at USC? Do you think?
Right.
I mean, it's all football there too, Flus. I mean, come on. Maybe it wasn't at in Toledo, but that's how it works. I did enjoy. I thought it was really cool the effect they used on when they were showing all the different passes, and they did 3. I didn't realize at first that it 3 different sets of these where you'd see Caleb throw the ball, the camera would follow the ball. When it came back, he was already in the pocket again, ready for the next one. And then they did a nice job. You heard him talk to Waldron about something, and then the very next, it cut to him actually doing that. And then there was another. That was really cool. I don't know.
Yeah, they were showing off. It was pretty cool. Yeah. They did a really good job with that. Yeah.
And then we got to see Rome and Jalen hanging out, and I like how it started. Because apparently practice had just ended, and Jalen goes up and goes, "Hey Rome, how are your legs?" In other words,
yes,
we're going to do some more work.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm only 22. Yep.
I like the voiceover too for that. It was the team is growing. The vets can now rely on the younger players to practice in a way that makes them both better. In other words, the rookies finally have a clue, and now you don't have to explain everything to them. And then we saw Montez and Austin Booker. Tez was giving him some tips, some pass rushing tips. And one of them was like, "Did you do this in college?" And Booker was kind of like, "I pretty much just ran by my guy and sacked the quarterback." That's not going to work. You got to do this instead. And then maybe it felt like they were just kind of checking in with guys we'd met, because that's like, "Hey, here's Torrey Taylor catching some snaps."
Yeah.
Yep. But the thing I noticed was, you know who was throwing him the snaps? It was Patrick Scales.
Oh.
I mean, why can't he just snap the ball? It's kind of like flag football. Why can't he just turn on one knee and just flip the ball back? Why does he have to? You know, I mean, I know his groin is hurt. He can't, actually play.
Hey,
why not just?
They can't touch him in the games.
Grass?
Yeah,
that's right.
The modern rules of football were written at Yale.
Yeah,
as we learned.
Exactly.
We
that must written at Yale.
Must have
that's next. Yeah, that's right. And that was next.
Yeah,
it was funny. That was Theo Bennett showing off his knowledge, basically saying, "Oh ho ho, you stupid Americans! We actually invented football. We had came down from great McGill in the Toronto area, and we went to Harvard, and they used our rules." And maybe the only person in not the country, but certainly in the state of Illinois at that time who could call him on that was
Kieran. I'm a guy.
And he's like, "Oh yeah, the rules of football were written at Yale by Walter Camp."
Yeah.
Well, maybe.
No way.
It's like I didn't expect you to know anything about this.
How's it going, eh? That's not a good answer.
Yeah, hoser.
Yeah, hoser.
Yeah. Get back to the hockey rink.
But I don't know. I could probably look it up, and I didn't really care. So that was great.
Yeah.
The 2 egghead, one's too hurt to play still, even though he's on the active roster, and the other one's on the practice squad.
Because he's too hurt.
You guys can have that conversation all year. That'll be fun. Right. Then what might have been my favorite, it was one of my favorite seasons. It was Tyson Bagent, Brett Rippon, and Austin Reed, and it starts with Bagent basically telling those two, home's not that bad. Like I was thinking last year, if I get cut, I'll just go home. I'll have a time and a half. And if I'm here, I'll have a time and a half.
Yep.
And I loved it. I love where Austin Reed said he'd probably.
Yes. I loved his answer too.
Be at Jacksonville working at a Chili's. And he's like, you'll be the quarterback coach for West Florida. That's what Bagent thought he would end up doing.
Yep.
This was some Hard Knocks editor got super excited when he found the footage of whatever bear that was trying to get out of his enormous SUV
with the backpack on.
Oh yeah,
and it was parked too close to the Jeep, and he was getting out of it. Because then he got Liev Schreiber. As we watched that guy struggle, we got to hear Liev Schreiber go, "There's not enough room on the roster," as he tried to squeeze out.
Very nice. Very nice.
Was he driving in the car wearing the backpack?
Oh, probably.
Okay.
More difficult to drive with a backpack on or with a mascot head on, as Andy has told the story before.
No, I would say the mascot head. That's probably the worst.
Yeah. Neither are ideal.
No.
Now we were on our way to getting a montage of guys getting cut.
Yeah.
And I want to know if you guys noticed something on when they had a close up of a lucite thing on Poles' on the shelf with a saying on it, and the saying is,
yeah.
sometimes the right way is the hardest way.
Yes.
Did you notice anything else about it?
Didn't it say RCP 23? Like it was his quote.
He
quoted himself.
Attributing it to him.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I would guess someone gave that to him. I don't think he's the kind of guy who would have, but I thought it was funny. That was very clearly.
Yeah.
He said that, and someone thought it was so astute. And Flus even comments on it.
Yeah, he does. Oh, man. Flus knows how to, play
it's his own Michael Scott Wayne Gretzky quote.
Yeah.
I also found it odd the two enormous oversized golf bags that
and they were
nice.
Yeah, and they're in every you saw them both like 30 times.
Right.
I half expected, like, when you're on Max, for a little prompt to come up that you could click on it and go to like the Bears store.
Right.
And buy your own personalized Bears bag for $800.
No. They all say Ryan Poles' name on them.
That's right.
You get it with Ryan Poles.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, we're not letting you pretend this is your bag. You can buy one of his. And so the whole montage of guys getting cut started with Poles talking about getting cut by the Bears in 2008. Yes. And I mean, somebody did some real work to dig up practice footage of Poles playing with Rex.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Then we ended up with a theme of the guys the young guys that they showed getting cut. And do you know what that theme was? This is a very George thing, I'm sure. So we saw Brian Cowart, Colin Johnson, Jake Curran, Theo Benedette, and then eventually we got to Austin Reed. What did they all have in common?
Stars of the Hall of Fame game?
They all got cut and they're all back. The only guy we saw get cut that didn't come back was Adrian Colton.
Yeah.
And Brett Rippon, but he left because he got another job. So it just seems like a George thing. Like, they all have there's a happy ending for all of them because they're all still Bears. But it was funny to see guys ask without getting. There have been guys in Hard Knocks past that have gotten super pissed when they got cut. And these were basically just guys asking why. Like, Cowart wanted to know why. And Poles basically said, we're going to keep more defensive ends and tackles. And he's like, all right. Yeah. And then for Colin Johnson, they told him, that was the star of the Hall of Fame game, Colin Johnson. I mean,
yes, he was.
Forget about it. He was. Yeah. He's on the Hall of Fame game, Hall of Fame.
Would have been Austin Reed if the game didn't get cut short.
That's right. Damn lightning.
Yeah.
They told him they were going to keep 5 wide receivers. And then Colin, did he play in any game other than that one? Did he play in the Bengals game?
I don't remember a single highlight from him.
I think he only played the one game and he got hurt.
Yeah.
And then Curran said, I like this, he said, the offensive line room was real crowded. And I was like, was he in a closet? Get him a real size room. Those are big dudes.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what he meant, but still. The other thing I liked about Theo's, this is a very Canadian. Poles was basically telling him, we think you have the upside to be a contributor, and we plan to bring you back to the practice squad because they were talking about he was moving up the depth chart before he got hurt in the Hall of Fame game.
Yeah,
right. But I liked what Theo said. I felt like right before I got hurt, I adjusted the speed down here and put some good stuff on tape. Down here. How many people refer to Chicago as down here?
Yeah.
But he is from Canada, eh? And then we found out that on cut day, another team offered to trade for Velas.
Yes.
I'm trying to discern what I thought the pick was, because first it said I would never go below a 4, so I was thinking, all right, well they offered a 5th or a 6th rounder for him. Yeah. But then he goes, the value, does it make sense on paper? That's unbelievable value. So is unbelievable value a 5th round pick, or did somebody actually offer a 4th? And that's what they were trying to figure out. Like 4th was as low as they were going to consider.
That's how I took it.
Yeah.
I took it as it was a 4th. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, we live in a world where you can get offered a 4th rounder for Vallis, and you get offered a 6th rounder for Justin Fields. The NFL. But they didn't do it. We couldn't part with that kind of talent.
Too key.
Because he was a 2nd round pick, right? Or was he a 3rd?
I thought he was a 3rd round pick.
Yeah, I mean, you're almost getting the pick back. You're almost getting the pick back.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 2nd rounder that year was that was the year they had 2, and they had Javon Brisker and Kyler Gordon. Those were their 2s, and then they took Vallis in the 3rd. So you would have almost got the pick back if that's right.
Yeah,
but Vallis gonna do big things. And then we got another one of the confessionals where Poles, after he's made the decision, and he's standing in his office wondering if he did the right thing, talking to that little guy. I don't know who that is.
Right. And
he was basically just saying, this is a chance. This is kind of a unique chance where you can see if Vallis can play running back, but you're not just developing him because he's going to be playing on all the special teams all the time. It's not like you're keeping him and he's just going to practice at running back and you hope he turn into something. He's going to practice at running back, but he's actually contributing, hopefully positively, on game days.
Useful piece.
Then Chad Morton was talking to Vallis, and he goes, he's talking about what a great attitude he had moving to running back. And he goes, a lot of people would take that as, oh man, they don't think I can play receiver. I was thinking, yeah, that's exactly
probably how most people would take it.
Wow.
No, I would have taken it. Yeah.
How perceptive.
He spun that well. No. It's because we think this could be this much better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, it's like my old saying, you've got to hand it to Velus Jones.
Because he'll drop it.
Yes, because if
you throw it to him,
he'll throw it to him.
So now they're just going to hand it to him.
Just hand it to him.
And we'll see what happens. Because I'm sure the 4th-string running back, it's not like he has 3 good running backs in front of him.
Yep.
Like really, really good ones. And I'm sure they'll have a few gadget plays for him. And so it could be just like last year when he would come in and line up at wide receiver and everybody knew they were going to run the jet sweep. That'll be fun. Yeah. When you have a guy that you run gadget plays for and he only plays on those plays, it basically becomes a huge red alert that he's in.
Yeah.
So then they got everybody cut down, and Flus uses the same word again. He says they go, our 53, it just fit our disposition. Big on disposition in this one. I liked Tyson wearing a Hard Knocks shirt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that was nice. Little free swag for Tyson,
Yeah.
and he immediately put it to use. He started wearing it.
Yeah.
I mean, I would think his dad is basically his entire wardrobe are free shirts he got at arm wrestling competitions.
I was going to say,
do they have bought a shirt in 30 years?
Do they have a shirt big enough for those arms?
Yeah. Well, I think it helps when they're on like a guy who's like 5'8" or whatever. True. I mean, I don't imagine Travis is all that tall.
Did we get to Adrian Colbert yet?
No,
Colbert yet? Okay.
I don't know why Flus was commenting on their 53, but they still had guys to cut. In the thing.
Right.
Now we got when they were intercutting between Brett Rippon talking to Poles and Austin Reed talking to Ian Cunningham.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
And I noticed this, and I don't know if the discussion went this way. They just did it in the editing. Poles was basically Poles and Flus were telling Rippon, yeah, we're cutting you, but we really want you back. Like that's our goal is to get you, hopefully. But and they knew there was a chance that a team would put him on the active roster because they needed a backup.
Yeah,
then Ian Cunningham is talking to Reed, and he's talking about what a great job he did and how hard he worked and everything. But he's not even dangling the carrot of the practice squad.
Right.
And it made sense to me because he would not have made the practice squad if Rippon hadn't gotten claimed.
That's how
exactly.
I took it.
So they're not going to be like, well, maybe your new buddy will get cut and you can have a spot.
Doesn't Austin Reed maybe deserve to meet with Poles now? I mean, I kind of felt like doesn't he get to meet with the head man?
I mean, no, they said that for the other undrafted, like Theo Benedict gets to meet with Poles.
Yeah, right. He gets to meet with Poles.
Can only meet with one undrafted guy. Yeah.
It could also have been a timing thing. It could have been during the apparently hour and a half that Poles was in his office with Adrian Colbert.
That's true.
And they're like, all right, Austin.
Emotional.
Right, we're going to get to that here in a second.
Yeah.
It's like some secretary is like, Ian, Austin Reed has been sitting out in front of his office for an hour. Could you maybe talk to him?
Talk to him.
Yeah, I could probably talk to him.
Yeah, that I buy.
Yeah.
That could have been it.
Yeah.
Give him a fidget spinner. He'll keep himself busy with that.
I liked Reed. He thanked Ian, and he said he knew he got a unique opportunity because most undrafted free agent quarterbacks don't get to play as much as he did in the preseason. So that was nice.
Yeah.
And we got to learn what Brett Rippett's hat stood for.
Yeah.
Yes.
Double H.
Yeah, because I thought
Got a
it was
little
just-
nervous there with the HH. Yeah.
Apparently stood for Huega House, which is a Danish term that means cherish the little things. And as you know, a flute without holes is a stick, but a donut without a hole is a Danish. Yes.
No.
Then now we've got it. Adrian Colbert riding his bike to Hallis Hall, no helmet to be seen. I could just imagine Praz grimacing in his house. You almost died in a bike accident. Why are you not wearing a helmet?
Yeah.
And I also like that he walked into Poles' office barefoot. Yeah. So Poles started to talk to him and then had to go into his little bathroom and have a cry.
Okay. It just seemed like performative to me. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm being too cynical, but
I don't think it was at all.
You don't?
No.
You don't think there's a chance of that?
No.
Okay.
I don't imagine. If there was fake shit in the show, there always is. I can't imagine Ryan Poles like, you know what would be great? I could cry while I'm cutting Adrian Colbert. I don't believe that for a second. Nope. That was real. That was an actual thing.
It was real too.
Yep. But the funny thing is, I can't tell looking through Colbert's, like the teams he's played on, because he and Poles have apparently crossed paths many times.
Clearly, yeah.
He's never played for the Chiefs, ever.
Yeah, I don't know.
He didn't play at all last year. I mean, he was a super long shot to make the team regardless.
Right.
You know, his career was over 2 years ago, and he's back trying to make the Bears.
Still, that scene gave me whole, vibes of, the hot dog guy in the suit. Like, we're all trying to find out the guy who did this. Like, well, if he's meant that much to you, you didn't have to cut him.
Well, no, you don't keep a guy because you like him.
Why couldn't he be on the practice squad, though? Why is he on the practice squad?
He may very well be too... Well, I don't know.
No, you don't. You can be...
Anymore?
Doesn't matter anymore. Yeah, you can have unlimited... And a practice squad guy of his experience, I think they make if they stay all 18 weeks, they make $325,000 a year. It's good money.
I don't know. Unless the Bears are looking at it as a 34-year-old safety is not a developmental player that should be on the practice squad.
Was briefly with the Chiefs in the preseason of 2020, for what it's worth.
Okay, so that has to be it. So he was in that training camp, and that would have been Poles' last or second to last?
Second to last, yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So that explains it, where they at least had crossed paths before. I mean, I wonder if he's cut him before.
He certainly appeared broken up.
But it ended up putting Adrian, and Adrian handled it because he just seems like that kind of guy. It ended up putting him in the weird position of he's getting the bad news and he's consoling the guy giving him the bad news.
Yeah, right.
And it immediately reminded me of Pat Hughes' story he's told a billion times. But it's a story about Brant Brown drops the fly ball in Milwaukee. Mm-hmm. And he says, I walk down later into the clubhouse and I see the unique scene of the manager of the team who just lost a heartbreaking game consoling the radio analyst. Jim Riggleman was trying to cheer Ron Santo up.
Yeah.
Instead of the other way around.
Yeah.
That kind of reminded me of that.
No.
But it's funny when he came out from the thing, Colbert's face was like, I'm pretty sure he didn't go in there to get prepared to give me good news.
No.
Yeah. I mean, he kind of left him and it was very awkward.
Right.
Yeah. I liked a lot of the stuff they said to each other. You know, Poles was like, there are some guys you just root for and you're one of them. You're a good dude and a good teammate. And Adrian said multiple times how much he liked the fact that on the Bears, you could just be yourself. You didn't have to, there are other places with other cultures where, you've got to be just like the dude. Being different is you're weird and we don't have any room for you. And it turned out being weird with the Bears meant we really like you and we don't have any room for you.
Still have no room for you.
Maybe if Mark Trestman was head coach, he would have made it, those two personalities kind of match up a little bit. I will say I in the whole player cuts montage, just thinking about it right now, for every other player before Adrian Colbert, he gets right to the point and says, we're releasing you right away just to kind of make it quick and everything. I think the fact that like it did take as long as it did with Colbert, that he took that second, like really showed that Colbert was a guy that he was rooting for to make it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find the guy who did this. I don't know.
So you can be sad, and it comes back to the sign, right?
That's right.
It's all back to Ryan.
Back to the sign.
Ryan
That's right.
pulls
That's
the
right.
sign.
That's right.
The easy thing would have been keep the guy you like. So that wasn't the right decision. So they didn't do it. So then I don't know if it was Colbert's locker or not, but they showed it, and the Bears give all their players a mood board. It's almost like the pain thing if you're in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so here are the things. You get a little magnet square, and you can put it over for that day what your mood is.
Yeah.
And here are your options: hopeful, frustrated, anxious, overwhelmed, angry, happy, sad, ecstatic, chill, silly, brave, and strong. And Colbert's was set on sad.
Oh,
Sad.
I don't want to walk in
Great
and find my football team with everybody set on silly. I think that would be bad.
Yeah.
That would not bode well.
When Ian Cunningham comes in, they're like, God, this game's such a great spirit. They sure seem like they wanted to keep him.
Yeah, well, they didn't.
Yeah.
Sentimentality has very little place in
Practice squad.
professional football.
Well, why not the practice squad?
Maybe he didn't want to be on the practice squad. Maybe they offered it and he said, fuck off. I don't want your stupid practice squad.
Think you would say that?
I'm going to go find another team and I'm going to come back here and I'm going to stick it up your ass.
Hey,
Well,
that's
that's great, Rick, but we didn't cut you.
the one time the calm,
Somebody's
cool,
having a little fun with you.
The one time the calm, cool, collected hippie guy has like a knee jerk, angry reaction to something.
Motherfucker. Really? God. That's not what you told the Hard Knock producer.
Mm-hmm.
You said I made it. Oh. Yeah, so they came in and they were talking because then Ian was catching him up on his Austin Reed experience. And they were talking about how it makes you proud we're doing a good job on the people. And they said everybody who they talked to wanted to be back on the practice squad, apparently including not Adrian Colbert. Told him to fuck off.
Yeah. They cut that scene. Adrian, we want to put you on the practice squad. Fuck you, Ryan.
Go fuck yourself.
So then it was the next day, and we're in the car with Brett Rippon.
Yes.
And he was explaining how right after he got cut by the Bears, he got a call from his agent, and the Vikings wanted to sign him, and he basically said, "You got to put me in the active roster. If I'm going to be on practice squad, I'm going to be in the Bears practice squad." And so they said, "Fine." So you know what that means? What is the reason why Austin Reed is still a Bear?
Because J.J. McCarthy got hurt.
Yeah, because J.J. McCarthy blew out his knee.
Yep.
Draw a line to it.
Years from now, when Austin Reed is beating J.J. McCarthy in a Super Bowl or the Grey Cup in the CFL, they can, or whatever arena football league is still playing, you can tell that story about how J.J. opened a door for Austin Reed to have a career.
And it'll go back farther enough somehow to all come back to counter.
J.J. McCarthy tore his Achilles or whatever leg injury it was so that Austin Reed could walk.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Rippon said, it goes bittersweet. I'm getting a great opportunity in Minnesota, but this team is going to do a lot of special things this year, a lot of special people in that locker room. And man, the Vikings, we're going to suck. But I'm going to get paid active roster money just to watch the Vikings suck. So it's worth it. That's fine. Yeah. So they showed Austin signing his contract, and the guy was basically saying, "Look, you get this money. It's not backloaded or whatever he said."
Yeah, right.
And he said he could be elevated 3 times before he breaks his contract, which means they'd have to either release him or put him on the active roster. However, they didn't bother to explain to Austin that the NFL changed the rule where the third quarterback can dress for every game. But the only time it counts as being elevated is if you actually play.
Right.
Now, they can elevate you if they want to keep 3 quarterbacks and have the option to go to you instead of the backup. But if you're the true emergency quarterback, they changed the rule. It used to be a limited amount of times for that. They can dress him for every single game, and it doesn't mean he's technically elevated for any of them. So, in other words, you're going to be making practice squad money all year. So, good for
Those guys get hurt.
When the Bears are 16-0 going into Green Bay this January, he'll be the backup. He'll be the backup to Tyson Bagent. They'll sit Caleb Williams.
Yeah. The fact is, if there's any point during the year where the Bears have to put Austin Reed in, shit has gone sideways. It's very bad.
Right.
Jonathan Owens is getting his hair braided, and he gets a call from his wife, and she's at the Fever game.
Yeah.
Hey, we can't go to the Sky. You got to go all the way to Indiana to see the Fever.
Right.
But I like he asked her. He goes. He's like, "Are they tall?" Well, to you, everybody's tall.
Yes.
Burn. And we got a bunch of old favorites came back in the last few minutes of this episode. None more than Rambo. We got to see him lounging on the couch while Jonathan was getting his hair braided. But then we also got to catch up with Aaliyah Moore, and she gave us a crib-style tour of their new house.
Yeah.
And I liked her suggestion that a pool would fit in the living room.
Yes.
Yes.
And why is DJ wearing a Sox hat? That seems like a really bad omen.
Bad idea.
Somebody needs to steal it from him and burn it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get him some blue. Let's get him repping the team that plays at Wrigley. It's just the Bears.
And DJ said, I could retire a Bear. Maybe. In other words, could also be another contract coming.
Yep.
You don't have to just stop at 6 years. You can pay me again. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Poles and Ian are off getting right to work. They're scouting. They're on the field before Georgia Clemson.
Yeah.
And Poles looks at Cunningham and goes, "Have you ever seen a defensive end catch kicks in pregame?" And there certainly was. I was going to look up who that was, but as a very large man who was fielding punts in pregame. And a cameo from ESPN's Molly McGrath. She strolled up next to Poles and asked him who he was looking at. And he's like, "I don't know. I just got started." And then the worlds colliding. Hard Knocks past and Hard Knocks present. Joe Shane sidles up to him and basically says, "God, how nice is it to not have to scout a quarterback with this thing?"
Right.
And he goes, "Hopefully it stays that way for a long time."
Joe Shane might want to take a look.
Yeah, Joe Shane. Well, he tried. We know from the show he tried very hard to get one of the three and couldn't trade up.
Right.
They got Daniel Jones, but that was not for lack of effort to not still be stuck with Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
They just couldn't do it. Then the best scene in the entire history of Hard Knocks. Matt and Kelly Eberflus talking bees.
Yep. The beekeepers.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, every time I see that, I'm so impressed with that house.
That's an impressive house.
Holy shit!
Really nice, right on the lake there. Yeah,
yeah.
It's that lake, but then it's also on it's got to be on an acre, more than an acre.
Oh, it seems huge.
I mean, Jesus, how much money was he? I mean, I know he's got a head coaching kind of. How much was he getting paid in Indy that he had enough money set aside? He's like, we're going to buy this house.
I'm going to buy this 10-acre property on the lake.
It's very nice. Although, how do we know? Maybe he's living in maybe he's in Benton Harbor. He's got to drive.
It could be,
but that's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Also, do you notice how many times Flus used the word apiary? It had very much. I know what this word means.
Yeah,
apiary. I'm going to say it again. Now, it's because originally, when he was told there was an apiary on the property, he thought it was a monkey cage. Wow. And then, like you said, we harvest the honey, and Kelly immediately jumps in to go, we need to clear something up because people think he's not doing it himself. We have a beekeeper.
Yeah. Could you imagine if he's out there, Flus is out there?
Yeah, right.
Explaining the hits principle to the bees as they're stinging the shit out.
Well, he did. He was out there and he's swatting bees away, and she's looking at him like, "Don't swat him." And he's over there like
space. All right, guys, this is
smacking
the buzz principle.
Yeah. So now, when I was a kid, on the farm down, I don't know, it was a considerable amount away from the house. I don't know, half a mile. We had one of my mom and dad's friends actually kept bees on our property, and he would put on the old beekeeping suit, and he had the weird smoke thing, and he would go down, and he would get, and we got, he gave us honey. He was one of those earthy grainy. He sold Shackley. That was, he's one of those guys. He had a vitamin for everything.
Harvested ginseng.
Oh, yeah. You can cure anything with vitamins. But yeah, so we had bees, and me and some of my friends would go down there and fuck with the bees. It was great. Try not to get stung.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did he ever get called to a professional sporting event to clear out any bees like the Diamondbacks had to deal with this past year?
Yeah, it used to happen all the time. He was on call. He had a beeper. It was great.
Nice.
They have to leave right in the middle of some important Shackley business. Like, oh no! There's a little amateur. There's the Byron Dragway. There's bees all over. I got to go down and fix that. Cars are being attacked by bees. It's terrible. I got to go fix that. Matt Eberflus said he knows the 2024 Bears are shaped by players no longer at Hallis Hall. Do you know how many Ryan Pace Bears, though, remain?
Oh, that's a good question.
By my count, there are 5.
5.
Including the best player on the team.
Cairo Santos.
Cairo Santos, of course.
Patrick Scales, if you want to count him because he's on injured reserve, but he's supposed to play again.
I think he counts.
And then Cole Kmet, Jalen Johnson, Tevin Jenkins. I think that's it.
Sounds right.
And so we knew the episode was coming to a close when everybody's favorite star of Stranger Things, Steve, and his band, Joe, started playing End of the Beginning, just like they did at the very beginning of the very first episode.
Yep.
And Flus is walking around meeting the new guys.
Yeah.
Filling them in on all the rules.
Welcome.
3 rules. Be on time, work hard, respect.
Yeah, because they had about 4 or 5 guys in the practice squad that were not in camp, right? So,
well, they also have 2 active players. They got Chris Williams, their former offensive tackle, who's now playing defensive tackle, and it's a different guy. Right. And then what's his name? The defensive end they traded for from the Seahawks.
That's right. Yeah.
And then it ends with Caleb first yelling, "Here we go," and then talking to himself. He goes, "Here we go. Just focus. Let's get after it." And that was the end of the season. Hard Knocks does really good montages.
Yeah, they're great.
They did a nice job wrapping this one up at the end. So, who are your winners of this episode? We'll start with Mike Pustateri.
I gotta go with Austin Reed.
All right.
Just Austin Reed?
I'm just gonna keep it economical. Yeah. Yeah. Let's go with Austin Reed. That was he made it. He made it on the practice squad. Good story. Yeah.
I had Reed listed as one. Also got Ryan Poles, Brett Rippon. I don't know the name of this person, but whoever recorded the melancholy version of the Hard Knocks theme, that got a lot of airtime. So they're a winner, in my opinion.
Probably the guy who does the injury version of the Fox music.
Exactly. Yeah. And then as we would see it would close out, there was a nice thing that said, "In loving memory of Katie Nagel, Bears staffer there." So she is a winner of that.
My winners were, even though he got cut, Adrian Colbert. For a guy we didn't even know who he was until 2 weeks ago. Yeah. He got a lot of quality time
for sure
on the show. I thought Ryan Poles came off well this week. Rambo. It's always good to see Rambo. The Flus's beekeeper, a big winner.
Yeah, a big winner there, yeah.
And George McCaskey for managing to not appear.
Yeah.
On the entire thing.
Yeah.
So your losers. Let's start with Praz.
I just had one loser, and it came right at the end. Simone Biles, when Jonathan Owens clowned her for being short. Everyone looks tall to you, Simone.
Yeah. So my losers were, since Coward, Curran, Colin Johnson, Theo Bennett, and Reed all made the practice squad, Drama was the real loser here.
Yeah.
Also, I feel bad for Leah Moore when she finds out that they're not going to get a pool in the living room.
Yeah.
And where was Bubba? How come we saw the entire... Yes. Bubba was mentioned. She said that Bubba was... She said her brother was sure that the mom's knew that the mom's pregnancy was going to result in her little brother. But we didn't get to see any Bubba. And I feel robbed by that.
Yeah, they got a new kid on the way. They're just casting Bubba aside at this point.
Yeah, maybe Bubba literally got recast.
Yeah.
We're going younger, Bubba. Sorry, you're out. So It's a fetus now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Poles had to leave the room for 10 hours before he could tell.
Didn't even make it through 5 episodes. I got cut.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like what was the oldest Cunningham? Chuck, right?
Chuck Cunningham. Oh yeah, Chuck.
Yeah, he disappeared and was not even mentioned in the finale.
Ever, man.
Mrs. C talked about her 2 kids. It's like, what about Chuck? He's
What
still upstairs
Chuck?
dribbling the basketball?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Poor Chuck.
Let's see. So, did you do your losers? Yeah.
No,
did your
yeah.
losers. Oh, you didn't, I skipped you. You didn't.
You
do your
skipped
losers.
me. No real, but I'll throw in Kevin Warren just because that was a
I've got him coming up.
weird sequence that shoehorned him in there for no reason.
All right. Well, you can go again. What best scene?
Best scene. I think the pole scenes except for Adrian.
You didn't
Colbert
buy
with
no natural emotions in the room for that. Mike Pustateri's world. That's fine.
Yeah, no, I thought that was all good, except for the Adrian Colbert.
All right, Praz.
I'm on board. Poles, him talking about the process of having to cut players and the whole premise of he himself being cut as a player as well. I did really like the emotional scene with Adrian Colbert. Like I said, you could tell he was rooting for him there. I liked Ian Wheeler on the phone with his mom, asking his grandmother to make jambalaya.
Oh, it was his grandmother. So he's making fun of her own mom. I thought it was his aunt.
Yes,
she was talking about.
That's right.
Okay.
And then DJ Moore and the family touring their new house.
I make fun of my. Oh, sorry. I make fun of my mom's voice too all the time. Oh, I was doing whenever I talk about my mom, I do this. I'm sure she loves it. Mine were the cool videos of Caleb throwing that would zip back to the pocket. I really like those.
Yeah,
I like the.
That was cool.
I didn't like it. I thought the Adrian Colbert and Ryan Poles stuff was good because I believed it. I liked Fuck the Giants. I like Joel Shane wistfully asking Poles what it's like to not have to scout a quarterback, and the Bees. I'm a big fan of the Bees.
Yeah, the Bees are good.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Prez, what was your most alarming scene?
Alarming would be the Bees for me, having, especially in the one shot where they were like right in Flus's face. When they were showing the glass rods in Hallis Hall, all I was thinking about was like, all right, which player is going to be dumb enough to like crash into one of these things and cut his face open? And then
You gotta be pretty tall, I think.
yeah, exactly.
I think they appear to be 20 feet off the ground. But, Torrey Taylor could hit one with a punt.
Exactly.
Knock it down and kill somebody.
That's true. Knock
There
them
we
all
go.
down.
And then we mentioned it during the Ripon cutscene when Poles was asking him, what's the double H stand for on your hat? Could have been worse, but,
Yep. Yeah, he didn't thrust his arm in the air and goose step out of the room. It's like, hey, Brett, really? That? You're going to wear that?
Yeah.
Mike Pusteri, you got a best scene, or no, most alarming. We're on most alarming.
I thought it was alarming. I felt bad for Adrian Colbert sitting there by himself. It's awkwardly while Poles
He should have been rifling through Poles' desk looking for a contract.
Right.
No, sorry, I signed myself for 10 years on $100 million.
Like, I'm getting cut and the camera's on me sitting here barefoot in the office.
My most alarming scene was whatever the hell Kevin Warren was doing.
Yeah,
That was
right.
just, that was all.
That is.
All right, and finally, funniest moments. Because I've got some I don't think you guys even saw because I knew to watch all the way through the credits.
You start.
Okay.
Start us off.
So my funniest ones were I liked the nerds Kieran and Theo fighting over whose country invented football.
Yep.
That was great.
I liked Austin
really
Reed
nice.
saying he was going to work at Chili's. But then
That's
if you
one
watched
for
all the
me.
way to the end, you got the bloopers. I didn't think there were bloopers, but there were. And here this is what you guys missed.
I did not see these.
Virginia McCaskey on a hot mic got caught telling Flus that she thought Matt Nagy was a fucking moron. We saw
right.
We saw George umpiring at a Sycamore Little League and he got hit in the nuts with a foul ball.
Okay.
We
Brianna
saw
McCaskey.
Staley actually shitting in the woods behind the practice field. And
Right.
it ended. This I thought was great. The whole thing ended with security cam footage of Ted Phillips sneaking back into the facility to steal straws out of the cafeteria.
Straws and pencil erasers.
Yeah.
Sweaty Teddy.
So it pays. From years of watching Marvel movies, I know to stick around till the very end.
Very
so
good. Yeah,
I was rewarded.
Yeah. Staley definitively answering the question about if a bear shits in the woods or not.
There you go.
He did. It was very disturbing though to see Staley actually drop his pants to do it.
Right. Does he
like,
squat
God.
down like a dog? Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute. Why do you have a bare ass?
He's like, God,
I don't get it.
I envy Clark in these moments. No
Right.
pants to deal with.
Yep.
Drop trout.
All right, then. So if either of you have any funny moments, now's your time.
I just got.
hold your peace.
I got two. You mentioned the one with Austin Reed talking about going back to Jacksonville and working at Chili's, and then I love the, when Jalen and Rome were talking, and Jalen asked, "How are your legs?" Rome saying, "I'm good. I'm only 22." Which someone who turned 30 recently, that's not exactly the case for me.
Younger than his man Johnny.
Yeah.
Still love that. That'll be my favorite.
Johnny.
Referring to Johnny Morris as my man Johnny.
I like when Mrs. Flues was given the flu shit about you ain't harvesting.
Yeah.
Let's
Let's not pretend that you're actually out there.
Let's
getting
take it easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that it? We've done 5 hours of Hard Knocks.
My goodness.
Glad
Longer
there's
than the whole series. Or
glad
as
there's not a sixth.
Yeah.
They've done it. This is a good lesson, I think, for the Cubs.
Mhm.
So that forever the Bears resisted this. They didn't want to do it. And finally they're like, we're just going to get it over with. And it was fine. Like it was. There have been. I won't speak for you guys. I liked it more than others because the Bears were in it. The guys I'm actually interested in. Even without the precious swearing that people seem very upset isn't in it. It was more. There have been far less interesting seasons of Hard Knocks.
I think so too. Yeah. Yeah.
So that was pretty good.
And there's really nothing unfair. I mean, Hard Knocks, they're not out to make any team look bad. They're not there to do that.
Right. And you get, obviously we know because George did it, but the teams get to basically say, you can't use that.
Yeah, right.
We don't want anybody to see that. You can do that. So and it's over. They don't have to do it. They won't do it again ever, probably, because they did it.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
And so it kind of made me think, all right, so that took how long? I mean, they were there from the first day of training camp until like middle of last week, and they finally packed up and went home.
Yeah.
And it's over. All the Cubs have to do is have fucking Sammy Sosa come to one game and throw out a first pitch, and they never have to answer that question again, and they won't do it. Poor George had to spend 6 weeks with the Hard Knocks people.
Yeah.
And they won't spend 3 hours with Sammy, even though apparently he's going to be hanging out at Obvious shirts pretty soon, hawking some stuff. So,
oh, is he really?
Yeah, there's going to be
right at the front of the line for that.
A Sammy Sosa line of. Now, if they were, I could think of some good ones for Sammy. I don't think they're going to use any of those, but there's some Obvious shirts of Sammy that I would buy. Like I don't even want to say, but they involve. Him and Manny Alexander losing $80,000 in a towel wrapped in a hotel lobby. It was still the greatest thing ever, but we probably won't be assured about that. Maybe I'll put one in the DeCipio store.
Yeah, there you go.
That.
Maybe I'm more tan than Sammy these days.
Yeah, they can. I don't even want to get into it. Okay. Poor Sammy. Yeah, I would guess. I wonder. Now I'm really good. The Bear fans who've hung on to the end are really excited about this. But given the close relationship of Obvious Shirts and the Cubs, I wonder if the Cubs would try to put any pressure on Joe to not have a Sammy event, because typically when they have one of these, Mark Pryor came in, he was at an event and he signed stuff, and Carey did it, and Ryan did it, and whatever. Right. If you do this, there's kind of the expectation then that there's going to be a few hours where fans get to go to Obvious Shirts and hang out with Sammy. And I wonder if they'll. Or maybe this is the Cubs dipping their toe into the tepid return
reconciliation
of Sammy.
Huh.
We'll see. Every now and then you see Sammy highlights going around on the official Marquee Twitter account. The Cubs do control that, so
Here's what I would do if I were Sammy. So Sunday is the Utility Tunnel of Fame ceremony for Aramis and Carey.
Yep.
If I were Sammy, I would print up my own plaque, because it's just a laminated piece of paper they tape on the wall.
Yeah.
And I would bust into the middle of the ceremony. I would walk over to the wall and I would tape it I would just slap it to the wall, right? In line.
Okay.
There you go.
And then say, I'm in. And then immediately get to the podium and give a acceptance.
Give a speech.
No, he gets to the podium and he has a boombox and he's holding it over at his head and it's just blasting.
Yeah.
Right in front of Carrie Wood.
How about this? How about if Sammy commissions his own statue and brings that to Gallagher Way?
That would be good.
Drops it down.
Not like he can't afford it. I mean,
let's do that.
He's even richer. He's even richer than he was when he retired. So apparently, Sammy's done very well for himself. I wonder if he did that and he had his own ceremony. If he had Sean Dunston introduce him, if Sean would make it seem like he thought it was going to be his statue again. Right. I kept waiting for him to look back and go, it doesn't. Honestly, guys, it doesn't look that much like me.
Yeah,
it's him. What? Oh,
what?
Shit! I thought this was my stage. All right. Well, that was fun. Thanks for doing this. I enjoyed recapping the episodes with you guys.
A lot of fun.
Absolutely, and very much fun.
Now we're just left with real football.
Now we have football.
Yep.
All right.
Football.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andy.
Many of us have herpes.
See what was up your sleeve? Did you use it or?
I don't know. What's up yours?
You got me there.
Yeah.